All right, let's talk about building something that's, well, incredibly important, your financial security. I know, it can sound super complicated, but honestly, it really just boils down to getting a handle on two key tools, saving and investing. If you can get these right, you're not just shuffling money around, you're actually building the foundation for the exact life you want to live.
So, I want to kick things off with a pretty direct question for you. Is your future really as important as your present? I mean, it sounds simple, doesn't it? But how you answer that question, and I'm not talking about with words, but with your actions, that's what's going to shape, well, the rest of your life. And you know what? That really gets to the heart of everything we're diving into today. This quote here, it just says it all perfectly. This is the idea we're going to keep circling back to, how the tiny little choices you make with your money right now are literally building the architecture of your entire future.
Okay, so let's really dig into that connection. It's so easy to think about money as just, earning it and then spending it. But the real magic, the real potential for growth, it all happens in that critical little gap between getting paid and spending every last penny.
That's it, exactly. Look, it's not really about how big your paycheck is. It's about being intentional with your choices. What you choose to do with that money? Well, it's like sending a direct message to your future self, telling them how much you care. And that mindset shift, that's where real progress kicks off.
Okay, so to make those smart decisions, you've got to have the right tools in your toolbox, right? And when it comes to personal finance, the two most essential tools you have are saving and investing. Yeah, they might sound kind of similar, but trust me, they do very different and very important jobs.
So, first up is saving. The best way to think about this is like it's your financial first aid kit. This is for your short-term stuff, plan things like, a new phone, but also, and this is crucial, for those totally unexpected emergencies, like when your car decides to break down out of nowhere. Saving is all about having that cash ready to go for safety and security.
Now, investing, that's a whole different game. Think of it more like planting a tree. You're putting your money to work today so that it can grow into something way, way bigger over a long time. This is where things like stocks or retirement funds come into play. They're all about building wealth over decades, not days.
Okay, so let's put them side by side. It really just boils down to this. Think of saving as your financial defense. It's there to protect you when life throws a curveball. Investing, that's your offense. That's what grows your wealth. And, super important, it helps your money beat inflation, so it's actually worth something down the road. Bottom line, you absolutely 100% need both. All right, so if investing is your offense, what's the secret engine that powers the whole thing? Well, there's this one concept that is so powerful. Some people call it a financial superpower. It's called compound growth. And honestly, understanding this one thing is an absolute game changer.
And it's really as simple and as powerful as it sounds. Just think about a tiny snowball rolling down a really big hill. It starts out small, right? But as it keeps rolling, it picks up more snow, getting bigger and bigger and moving faster and faster. That's your money. The money you earn starts earning its own money, creating this incredible cycle of growth that just keeps accelerating.
And this chart right here, this shows you exactly why when you start is so critical. I mean, just look at that staggering difference. The person who starts investing at 25 ends up with so much more than the person who waits just 10 years to start at 35. That 10-year head start is everything. It gives that compounding engine time to really work its magic. Believe me, when it comes to investing, time is your single most valuable asset, even more than the amount of money you start with.
Okay, so that's the what and the why. We get it. But the big question is, how do you actually do this? How do you make it happen consistently? Well, it all comes down to one simple but unbelievably powerful rule.
Yep, pay yourself first. This is one of the golden rules of personal finance for a reason. And it's a huge mental shift. It means you stop thinking of savings as, whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month. No, instead, before you pay your rent, before you buy groceries, you set aside money for your future self. You're basically making your own future a non-negotiable priority.
And just look at how simple this is in practice. It completely flips the script on the old earn, spend, then save model. Instead, you earn your money. Then, the very first thing you do before anything else is you save. You move that 10% or whatever number works for you straight into your savings or investment account. Then, and only then, do you spend what's left. Just by doing that, you've already won the most important financial battle of the month.
All right, let's bring this all home. What is the ultimate payoff for doing all this stuff? I promise you, it's not just about seeing a big number in a bank account. It's about what that financial security actually lets you do and who it lets you become.
Well, first and foremost, it's about security. We all know life is completely unpredictable, right? A sudden job loss, a medical bill that comes out of nowhere, that stuff is terrifying. But when you have that savings cushion, that safety net you've built, it transforms a potential catastrophe into just an inconvenient problem. That's not just money, my friends. That is pure peace of mind.
And at the end of the day, this is what you're really building. Financial discipline isn't about restricting yourself. It's about creating things. You're creating freedom, the real freedom to choose your own path in life. You're creating security, that buffer that helps you handle whatever comes your way. And you're creating opportunities, the ability to say yes when that dream trip or that new business idea finally shows up.
So I'm going to leave you with this one last question. And look, it doesn't have to be some huge, life-altering decision. Think small. What is just one simple choice you can make today to start paying your future self first? Because at the end of it all, the life you're going to live tomorrow is being built by the choices you make today.